Thank you so much for attending today's meeting number 351. And the theme of the meeting is Speak Without Fear, from Nervous to Notable. Have you noticed how there are some individuals that are so good at presenting, like Barack Obama? The man can't do any wrong. He knows how to present, he knows how to use gestures. But I found out that it didn't all happen that he was a naturalist of sorts. He wasn't. He had many individuals that helped get him to the point where he felt comfortable making presentations, giving speeches, talking to the public. And because of it, he was able to gather a nation and make them fall in love with him. And the same thing is true for us here. We have the opportunity to grab hold of individuals, not physically, but to be able to grab hold of them in a way so that you can take them down your path as you're telling your story. And telling your story, or the story that you prefer to tell, you have to be in a position where you are fearless and that you don't feel inhibited in any way when you're giving a speech or your story. So how do you get there? It's through practice. Practice is the key. You cannot think you can write the speech and read it a couple times and then get up and then give it. I think the stark reality would hit as soon as you look up and you see the individuals in the audience awaiting your presentation. And then that's when you realize, maybe I haven't prepared as well as I should. So let's think of this meeting as our first step in remembering to prepare ourselves for our presentations so that we are able to speak without fear. We have our supporting staff, individuals that help guide the meeting or keep it moving. And I'm going to ask for the individuals that are supporting tonight's meeting to tell us what their role entails, starting with Bibi, who is our grammarian.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster. It's an honor today to be your grammarian. As grammarian, because it's Toastmasters, we try to build our vocabulary, and I get the honor of choosing the word today, the word that we're going to focus on and use. And I've chosen perseverant because it is associated with the theme of speaking without fear, from nervous to notable. We need to be a perseverant person, and perseverant means someone who persists steadfastly in doing something when faced with difficulties or setback. And it can be used in this way. Elton is very perseverant. He definitely does not give up on this club and perseveres to keep it going as a Toastmaster club to get everyone engaged in enhancing their speaking and leadership skills. I will also be looking for good use of the English language, and at the end of the meeting and in the general evaluation section, I'll present my report. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. And if we can hear from Bruce, who is our counter and timer.
Thank you, Elton. Toastmaster Elton, fellow Toastmaster friends and guests, I'm the counter, which counts the filler words or sounds that we say when we are in the middle of a sentence or at the beginning of a sentence, haven't started yet, that your brain starts chugging, turning around and thinking, okay, what am I supposed to say next? And then that's when uh comes out of your mouth. It's these sounds and these mini words that do not add to your vocabulary, and I will be counting those. I will provide a grand total at the end. There's more than just those. There is using the word so to start a sentence. It's fine in the middle of one. And. You don't want one sentence becoming majorly long, like a 4 or 5 minute sentence. I just used like correctly there because I was describing something, but not the other kind of like that gets used way too often. You know is another one, but not used correctly. Right when you end a sentence by saying right. Well, now, yeah, okay. Repeated things which are double crutches or double clutches, I can't remember. And long pauses, and that then I will provide a total at the end. And I may be kind, I may not, I just did a double crutch there. I'll mark that down. I may provide an example of what your go-to filler word is, just so that you have something to work on in the future. And that with that, I will turn it back to Toastmaster Elton, who is going to turn it right back to me as timer. So I might as well stay online. And my role as timer is to time everything in Toastmasters. All speeches are timed with a minimum, middle, and maximum time. When you see the green, you've reached the minimum required time. Yellow is the middle time, and red is the maximum time. When you see the yellow, start thinking about wrapping up. And when you see the red, you've got a 30-second grace period to do so. It's okay if you go over time a little bit. This isn't a contest. We only have one speaker, so we're okay. We're not going to yell at you and say you can't come back again. With that, I'll report on the times when called upon and take it when that time happens. So back to you, Toastmaster Elton.
Thank you very much, Bruce, for describing your roles for this evening. We're going to move into what I call the fun portion.
Elton, before we move ahead, could we do the guest introductions?
Yes, introduction. No. And you can keep that.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Bennett. I attended this club's open house a few weeks ago and it was very lively. I met some of you in person. Nice to see you again. I am currently a guest at 2 Toastmasters Club, including this one, because I'm new to the association and I just want to see which one is the best fit for me. Thanks. I'm really looking forward to today's meeting. Thanks.
And we have one guest online.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm assuming
Hi.
I'm that one guest online. Nice to be here. My name is Sarkis. Please don't bother pronouncing my last name. This is my second time with Toastmaster. I'm planning to be a full member at some point. And I'm here because I generally just want to be better at speaking, better at expressing myself. And I just happen to like everybody here.
All right. Well, thank you very, very much. And before we move now to our fun portion of the meeting, which is table topics, I just want to take a couple of seconds, and I think all of you have it now. But if you notice at the bottom, there is this image down at the bottom. Did you see that? Your voice matters. This is your invitation to our next meeting. So I just thought I wanted to tell you now so that you can start thinking about how you're going to prepare for this meeting that's coming up on June 10th. And speaking of fun, we have Ken Weinberg, who is going to conduct the table topics portion of our meeting. Ken, the virtual floor is yours.
Thanks, Elton. Hello, everybody. Table topics can be very straightforward. We give you a topic, you give us a speech. No practice, no writing, no nothing. Just right off the top of your head, and you try to do your best. But everybody knows that I'm a very non-conventional person. So today we're going to dispense with that whole platform of table topics. And instead, we're going to have a workshop on how to make your point so that you can be a better speaker. So being a better speaker has a lot to do with having a point to your speech. Let me put that in another way. You have to have something to talk about, and this is where you start when it comes to writing a speech. Now, the world champion of public speaking, Lance Miller, gave a workshop just a few weeks ago for District 60 conference, and his advice to us when we thought of the question, what are we going to talk about? He said, talk about what's important to you. So I want everybody who's at this meeting now to take the next 10 seconds to come up with something that is important to them. Think about it. If you have to, write it down, because I'm going to call on you and you're going to tell me and us what it is that's important to you that would be the subject of a speech. Okay? 10 seconds now. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Time's up. It shouldn't have taken you very long. How could you not know what's important to you? Just one thing. I know it's hard to narrow it down. All right, so now you have one thing that's important to you. If you're trying to make a speech, you need to take that thing that's important to you and create a point out of it. A point is something that is well documented in books throughout the library and the bookstore. As you can see, how to make your point, that's just for kids who are trying to learn public speaking. They start them young. Make your point, another one on make your point, but the one I'm going to draw on today is the Joel Schwartzberg, get to the point, sharpen your message, and make your words matter. You know what he says? He says, if you don't have a point, you're pointless. And you don't want your speech to be pointless. Pointless speeches make you look nervous, make you look rambling, and, oh, did I miss one? And they could be considered an epic failure. So we're going to take your thing that means something to you, and we're going to turn it into a point for a speech, because your audience won't be there. If you don't have a point, they're not going to stick around. And if you do have a point, they're going to give you their rapt attention. A point is very important. Have I made my point? Okay, good. All right. So you have to have your point. Has everybody got their point? Good. Now, we're going to take your points and we're going to apply a 3-step process to the thing that you are going to speak about to make sure that they are an effective point for a speech. So they have to pass this test. They have to pass the I believe that test. They have to pass the so what test. And they have to pass the why test. So ignoring those 3 steps for a minute, I'm going to ask Elton. Elton, what was the thing that matters to you that you would make a speech out of?
Speaking to, or I should say, working with marginalized kids who can't read.
Working with marginalized kids, let's say illiterate, all right? Working with illiterate, marginalized kids. All right, so do we have a speech there? No, I don't think we do. We have a topic. That's not a point, that's a topic. So when you're looking at your speech topic and making it into a point, it has to pass the I believe test. So can you take working with illiterate, marginalized kids and say that I believe that working with illiterate, marginalized kids, is that grammatically correct? Does that have a sentence to it. And if it doesn't, you have to do a little bit more crafting. So here's a couple of other ideas. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Does that pass the I believe that test? I believe that the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms? No, there's no sense to it. How about innovation in IT or working with illiterate, marginalized kids? You haven't got a point. If you want to take those three, such as the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, you could say, I believe that the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms gave our country an enduring identity. You could say that I believe that innovation in IT will make us more efficient. And you can say that I believe that mistreatment of our First Nations people is our country's biggest domestic challenge. Elton, I want you to take your topic, working with illiterate, marginalized kids, and make it so that it passes the I believe that test. Go ahead.
I believe that all children who can't read should.
Okay, sounds a little bit more like it passes the I believe test than you originally had there. Would everybody agree? Okay, let's go with Sarkis. Sarkis, what would you say your the thing that means something to you when I asked you this question earlier? What did you say or write down?
I believe that everyone should be open to accepting their flaws and imperfections.
Well, it's great. You've already passed the I believe that test. Okay, and I'm guessing you didn't do that at the beginning, but now it passes. Michelle, what was yours, and can you make it fit the I believe that test?
I believe that dogs can provide support to people when they're going through a hard time.
And what was your topic before you put it to the I believe that test? Just curious.
Dogs are important.
Okay, all right, and that's a good topic, but it's not a point. And a point passes the I believe that test. Okay, we're going to go to the second one now. The second test is so what? So if your point passes the so what test, or what Joel likes to call the duh test, it has to be deep. It has to be something that is not a truism. Because if everybody believes it to be true, what's the point of having a speech about it? All right. If there's absolutely no reasonable counterpoint to it, if nobody could argue the opposite, why are you wasting our time? Why are you wasting your breath? And finally, can you spend more than 1 minute defending the point? Because if there's no reasons to make your point true, then maybe it isn't. All right. So if you get past the so what test, you've made your point extremely pointful. All right. So that's a test that you should put your. So I believe that. I think you said I believe that everyone should be able to read. Does it pass the so what test? It's a truism. I mean, who would argue opposite to that? All right. So if you want someone to sit there and listen to your point, Elton, you need to make a point that isn't completely obvious, that there's no counterpoint, and you have more. You need more than 1 minute to justify it. Something a little bit deeper, something maybe that you have to convince the audience of. And then there's the last test, the why test. And I would recommend that you avoid badjectives or bad adjectives like excellent, great, wonderful, amazing, very good, or important, because they don't explain anything. They don't say what is happening. They just say they're more. So if you can say that something's urgent or profitable or efficient or unprecedented or galvanizing or unifying, then people will say, oh, then it must be worth listening to this. So those three tests would make something a really good point, and you can write a speech about that. So suppose that the first attempt at writing your point was, I believe hiring a social media manager is important. That doesn't have a why to it. So then come up with a why. Because she can help us build positive buzz around our product. Not bad, but there's that word important. You don't need it. If you've got a good why, scratch out the is important part and just put the two together. I believe hiring a social media manager can help us build positive buzz around our product. And then you've got a speech and you've got to justify it, etc. All right, so you've got a 3-step process now because you want to get to the point in your speech so that your audience will listen, so that they will pay attention, so you'll have something to talk about. And I think you're well on your way to being a better speaker if you do. So I'm going to back up to the 3 steps again. There they are. Okay. Now, let's go with Bruce. Bruce, what was your original thought for my question about something that's important to you?
I believe that.
Oh, before you put the I believe on it, what was
Sorry.
the first thing you thought of?
Oh, my eventual life in Argentina.
My eventual life in Argentina. Sorry, my eventual life in Argentina. Now, if you made this into a good point, you could add I believe that. And how would it sound with an I believe that in front of it?
I believe that my eventual life in Argentina will benefit me in the sense that I will be learning more Spanish than I am right now.
And can you see that do you think that it would pass the so what test?
I believe so.
Okay, so
I hope so.
can you think in terms of what the audience is thinking? So you start launching into a speech that says you know your eventual life in Argentina will help you learn more Spanish, and the audience is sitting there, and you came out with a point statement early on in your speech, and now the audience is thinking, so what? So can you come up with a longer title or an expression of the point that would make the audience say, this is important to me?
Okay.
Try
I,
it.
I okay. I believe that my eventual life in Argentina will benefit me greatly because I will be able to learn more Spanish than what I do now, because I will be immersed in the community, in the culture, and I'm getting to that age where I may need some help in time. And my extended family down there, which consists of a lot of younger people, my nieces and nephews, my great nephews and nieces, they may be around and be willing to assist with any physical handicaps that I may have.
Sounds important to you. Can I
Yes?
make a suggestion and be happy to listen to anyone else's suggestions? I would say you've got a great story. What you need is a speech point that would be of interest to the audience, and then you can illustrate that point with your story. So make it more general, make your point less about you and
Okay.
make it about the audience. And now you've got the audience thinking, yeah, I want to hear more about that. And then you can tell them your story or your plans. And then they'll say, well, he's got it figured out for himself. And it looks like it would apply to me too.
Okay. I'm always talking about myself though, so.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. But that's that point. All right. So what was the original point? Not point. What was the original subject of the speech that you came up with?
I'm embarrassed because I fully changed it, but my
Yeah,
original idea was food.
food. Okay. So can you say, I believe that and incorporate food?
I believe that food.
That's not a sentence, but we can work on that. Okay, so give me something about food that would require you to take a stance because you believe.
I believe that food can be a great way to connect with cultures across the world.
So what? Can you add a little bit more to it? Why is it important to connect to cultures across the world?
The world is getting more and more global, but at the same time, there are conflicts with people who we don't identify with, which is why food can be a great way to connect with people who are different from you and appreciate what they have, which is different from you.
That's amazing. What do you think? Everybody got the idea that there's a good point there? You're talking about the importance of food and how it is useful to understand other cultures because the world is fractured and divisive, and we need to bring people together, and we can do that over food. Right? You've got a great point there, and a point like that would make a speech that you can defend with facts, and people won't say, so what? Or they won't say why, because you said the world is fractured and we have to help bring the world together before we all kill each other. All right, so let me try a couple more. Caitlin, did you start with a subject and thought you could improve it with an I believe that? Let me hear what you've come up with. You might need the microphone. Yeah, I can hear you.
I believe that soft skills should be taught in our education system from a young age because they are arguably more important than technical skills.
I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. You can take a stance there. It's not it passes the duh test because it would take some people might need convincing, right? It's not a truism. It's not undefendable. So go for it. All right. Thank you. And let's try one more. BB. BB, did you take what you thought of for your speech and craft it into a point?
Okay, let me try. My original thought was persistent daily exercise is important to me.
Oh,
So let me change that up. Persistent daily exercise is very important in enhancing your life. However, it's very challenging to achieve. Here are some of the ways that you can achieve daily persistent exercise.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right, so let me leave it there in the interest of time. Please remember that when you're working on a speech, it's great to take something that, as Lance says, is important to you, but it's as important to make sure that it passes the point test, which is 1, I believe that. 2, so what? Because if it's trivial, don't give a speech about it. And 3, the why test. You give a reason why it's important. Make the audience feel like they're going to get something out of the speech that's going to be of value to them. So when you come up with a why, make sure you take your audience into consideration, and you're going to have world championship level speeches from now on. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much for the educational outlet. We can never have enough of those. And next is our speaker portion of the meeting. Oh, no. First of all, we need to, I've lost it. Oh, we need to request for the voting for our table topics session.
I thought that this was a very different.
Yeah, we're not voting on
topics.
this. Yeah, we're not.
We're not going to vote?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I think we were brainstorming. It's hard to compare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for the thought, though. We'll try again next time.
We're going to just mosey right on and think about someone is using a word that Ken brought up during his mini workshop, and that was the word why. And Michelle's theme for her meeting is, her speech is My Toastmasters Why. And who is the individual that is evaluating Phoebe?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Please allow me to give you, everyone, the purpose of Michelle's speech. The purpose of Michelle's project is for her to understand the types of persuasive speeches and deliver a persuasive speech at a club meeting. The speech should be well organized on any topic. She may choose to appeal to emotion, ethics, or logic. The speech can be humorous, informational, or any style she chooses. And the speech should not be a report of her current project or on persuasive speaking. And with that, I'll hand it over back to you, Mr. Toastmaster, to introduce Michelle. Thank you so much.
Let me introduce Michelle Lick, my Toastmasters why, my Toastmasters why. Michelle.
Thank you, Elton and Bibi. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Have you ever wanted to do something, but you talked yourself out of it? Over the years, I would walk by the Toastmaster at P&G sign on the way home from work. I looked at it and thought, oh, I should join one day. I would make every excuse in the book. I'm too busy, too scared to speak in front of a group of people. And I always said to myself, like the average Maple Leaf fan, maybe next year. Sound familiar? This evening, I will share my Toastmaster whys and how it's changed over time. Initially, the main reason why I joined Toastmasters is because I wanted to overcome my fear of speaking in group settings and overcome my shyness. Talking to people one-on-one is not difficult for me, but at work meetings and group settings and networking sessions, I found it difficult and I didn't talk at all. In 2014, due to an external challenge, I finally joined and participated actively in Toastmasters meetings at Toastmasters at P&G. It took me a while to do a speech and participate in table topics, but I actively participated in other roles. It was great to be able to do it at my own pace. As many people have said to me, and I've said to myself, I wish I joined earlier. As I continued to gain more experience, a shift started to happen, which leads to my second why. Try new things. I ventured outside the comforts of my home club and joined Toronto Liberty Village Speakers and spoke at other clubs. Taking on the area director role pushed me outside of my comfort zone. It was very uncomfortable. I didn't feel perfect all the time, which is a good thing, because perfectionism is not good thing to have all the time. Fun and rewarding at the same time. It gave me a chance to meet more people, learn from them, and share ideas. And I realized that it's okay to have contradictory feelings and thoughts at the same time and still move forward. And the support from fellow Toastmasters helped me to push me forward. And it helps to push all of us forward. My third Toastmasters why is planting seeds and encouraging each other to grow. As I was experiencing changes, I witnessed a shift in my anthurium plant that I have at home. People who know me know that plants don't last very long around me. Well, this one is resilient. The flowers disappeared and did not grow for months. But back in January of this year, with proper care, water, and a lot of sun, and some light from the lamps in my place, the two flowers started to bloom. And a third one is starting to come out of its shell. With proper care, we can all grow and overcome fears. And if there is something that you want to do, I'm speaking to the guests as well. If you want to join Toastmasters and you're afraid to take that first step, plant a few seeds. You will gain confidence, courage, and blossom. I will end with a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't walk, or if you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. By all means, keep moving. Back to you, Toastmaster Elton.
Thank you very much. My Toastmasters why. But that was an excellent presentation. And the one thing that stood out for me was, as part of your why, it was proper care. And I thought that was so important and something that I could definitely connect with. And we're going to now move to our, I'm going to pass control to our general evaluator, which is Bibi.
I think it's me.
It's you? Oh.
That's what, according to the agenda. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is true. You are right.
It is.
My
and I-
bad.
And I forgot to rename you as such, Michelle.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Elton. As general evaluator, I'm responsible for evaluating the meeting. Before I do that, though, I'll introduce the evaluation team. And the first person I will introduce is Bibi, who will be evaluating my speech. Bibi, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Michelle. Well, Michelle, what an intriguing speech. What eye-opening. What a speech where I can see you being honest to yourself. It came from deep within you. And that is what I want to point out, that to me, this speech came from deep within you. Today, I will evaluate you on what you excelled at, where you may want to, a few things you may want to work on, and a few other things you may want to challenge yourself at. What you excelled at, you were very confident, and I can see you did a lot of preparation because your speech was well structured. It was well organized. You gave us 3 whys. The second why and the third why definitely resonated with me. Trying new things and planting seeds and for growth opportunity. You had a structure. In your conclusion, you quoted from Martin Luther King, and you had a message for our new guest. If you want to be a member of Toastmaster, it's always better to try as soon as possible, because you found it was better for you if you had tried before you had convinced yourself with all those excuses that prevented you from joining. So you had a great structure in delivering your speech. Your voice was very engaging. Is something that would resonate to me, something that I would listen to. You use gestures to make your point. You look directly into the camera, though you didn't take advantage of moving back and forth into the camera to make your point more effective, which is one gift I would like to give you, to move back and forth into the camera to make your speech more effective. Your speech, your 3 points is something that, in my opinion, we can all take away with and use. What I would like you to work on is when I noticed you were sitting, and at one point you were swiveling in your chair. I found that a bit distracting. I always try to, when I deliver a speech, to stand, because in that way I would be able to better use my hands, my facial expression, my camera, in order to make my speech more thrilling to the audience, get them more engaged, so that they will take away the points I want to share. And to challenge you, I would like you to think about what you can work on, and see if you can next time represent this speech. Try standing up and see how much better it can be. And with that, I'd like to hand it over back to Madam General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, Bibi, for providing an excellent evaluation with strengths and areas of growth and challenge. And next, the next person, who am I looking for here? A grammarian. Oh, Bibi again.
Just back and forth, back and forth.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. I'm sorry to say, even I did not use the word perseverance today. It's all because, and I'm going to blame it on Ken, he changed up the format. But Ken, that's a poor excuse. That is not, it just was not within the concept of how we normally use the word of the day. And with that, next time, I promise I will we would choose a word that we can all use. If I missed anybody who used the word, my apologies. But we had very good words or phrases today from Michelle, with planting seeds and proper care and normal things in life, that the use of language that we could use going forward. And with that, I'd like to hand it over back to Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Bibi. And now I'm going to introduce Bruce for the ad counter report and the timer report.
Thank you, Madam GE. Michelle. Total filler words, not bad. 36 filler words, and I'll go through the go-to ones. Elton's go-to one is ah. Ken's go-to is so. And everyone else just had one. So I just used one. Ken and Elton were the kings of the filler words tonight. Good for you guys. I don't know if it's something to be proud of, but it's something to work on. There you go. Time-wise, Michelle, I just said Michelle's prepared speech came in at 5 minutes, 57 seconds. BB's evaluation, a few seconds over 336. We're not going to fire her or anything like that. And that was it because table topics was very different tonight, so I didn't time anything. I kept waiting for Ken to say, "Okay, now go and do your topic speech." So it was a workshop tonight. So very well done, Ken. Just
Thank you.
different. So thank you.
It's good to have a point before you write your speech.
Yeah, there you go. Back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you, Bruce. Now I'm going to evaluate the meeting. We did start about 2 minutes late according to the Zoom time, and maybe and a couple minutes early according to the in-person time. And the meeting went very well. I enjoyed it. Everyone explained their roles properly and clearly. And Ken, your table topics session was definitely very different, a workshop style. I was expecting everyone to give a speech incorporating those the points that you made from Lance Miller. However, it was still great. We all learned something, and we were able to answer some questions that you asked. And all the reports were done well. BB provided some phrases, even though the word of the day wasn't used as much. And your evaluation was well done as well in terms of providing strengths and areas of growth. And also for the timing, Bruce, your hand was up all the time, so it was easy to see the timing, so that was great. And also it was great to see the guests participate in the table topics session as well. So overall, great meeting. I enjoyed it. And back to you, Toastmaster Elton.
Thank you very much. And we'll move right to the announcing the table topic winner. No, that's right. I keep forgetting. There is no table topics. Ken! Club business.
Elton, you definitely gave me an idea to make it a two-parter. The first part being everyone uses this method to come up with a really good point that passes all three, and then they give an impromptu speech using that improved point. I think that would definitely work. Time considerations aside, if I have the time to do that, then that would definitely take it to the next level.
That's honestly where I thought you were going with Ken, because we only had the one speaker tonight, so we had the time.
We did. I was concerned though that I was running late. So.
Okay, no worries.
Club business. Bruce.
Yeah, what do you want?
You're the president. Any club business?
Club business, this is election month, or I mean, it can be extended into June, just as long as we get the officer list in before June 30th. But we do have one name per officer role, which is great. So do we just want to mention that, or do you want to kind of make an official announcement at the next meeting and do a pledge?
Can we do the election next meeting?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't mind helping run in the election.
Uh-huh. And you're helping Art tomorrow, so that's good.
All right,
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be in person next meeting.
Oh, were you? Okay. Okay.
Will you be providing us with the slate of candidates before the election?
We can, and I can go through it now if you want.
Are all the members here?
No.
No, except for Adrian. Adrian, I kind of
And
talked.
Rita, sorry.
No, Rita. Well, members, no, yeah, true. Yeah, we haven't seen Rita for a while. and that, but hopefully we can have quorum if assuming that that's the route you want to take. President, the only name come forward is Elton. For VP Ed, the only name come forward is me. VP Membership, the only name come forward is BB. VP PR, Elton. Secretary, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle, for stepping up. Treasurer, BB. And SAA, Adrian, who I generously talked into. And then me as the IPP, which immediate past president, myself. So those are the only single names that we have for each role. But if we want to do the election at the next meeting, BB's going to be there in person, so we can handle that. Yeah. But it's basically it's the last call until the next meeting for this.
And that's June the
Okay.
June 10th?
June 10th.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just confirming. I'm looking at my calendar now. Tuesday, June 10th. Yes, that's it. Yep. Club officers, we showed. Let's go bring that up. Club officers, we got our DCP goal for the training. Sadly, 3 officers who got trained in districts outside of District 60 didn't get credited because the outside district PQD didn't submit anything to our PQD. So, but we got our point. So, and our PQD Shuba sent out a last minute or last call notice just the other day or yesterday, I think it was, to get these things in. But the 3 that didn't get credited, it was BB's VP Ed, BB's secretary, and Elton's treasurer, all done at districts outside of District 60. So lesson learned, really try to do everything within District 60, but I can understand the convenience of having to do something outside of the district. And BB, I understand why you did what you did for art, because you had the same club officer role for art in District 60, but also at Beyond Words in District 61. You went to District 61. Unfortunately, we're now scrambling to get your District 61 uh, club officer role applied to District 60. So that's the downside, rather than going to an individual club officer in District 60 for each role. That's all, yeah.
Question
Go
is,
ahead. Yep.
is it possible that the other districts are not informed in terms of how
It
this
could be,
whole,
yeah.
how
Yeah.
this whole thing works? If
Yeah.
you go to another district and you attend, that as long as you give them those 2 pieces of information, that they should be able to contact, in this case, it would be Shuba,
Yep. Yep.
and it should be done.
Yep.
And in fact, I know that Shuba did send for me to District 45. I know she did.
For you in this club, it may have been something else, but you, according to yours, Elton, according to my file here, was District 26.
26. Sorry.
26, but you forgot the trainer's name, so that unfortunately didn't help much. BB's was District 61 for secretary and District 86 for VP Ed. So yeah, a district's PQD is supposed to submit outside officers, keep this in mind, Yukta, to their district or to ours, vice versa for Yukta to theirs for next year, to their PQD and that. Also, what is recommended are screenshots. If you can take a screenshot of your image, not solely your image, but say a group shot like this, if you can take a screenshot of when you are in your club office training session, that apparently helps helps with the clarifying and the confirmation, basically. But that's it on my end. But we got the training point, training goal. That's all that counts. Somebody left. Who left?
All right, so can we hear from our guests? I'm dying to hear what you thought of the meeting. And
Sarkis, do you want to go first?
Of course, I like this meeting. I feel it has helped me to articulate my speeches better. All mid coming in, my why should I believe in that was kind of flawed, and my initial what is important to me was also kind of not the best. But after some examples and some retooling, I feel I've learned from this mistake and learned overall as well. So thank you, everyone.
Nice. Mhm.
Hi, I also enjoyed the meeting. The table topics feedback was really beneficial to me from Ken, how I can take a stance on my belief. I also enjoyed Michelle's speech because I could relate to the anthurium piece. Overall, it was a good meeting, in my opinion.
well, I'm so happy that we had guests this evening. I mean, the sun is still out. It's such a good feeling. So to have guests is like icing on the cake, at least for me. Are there any other announcements or anything that someone wants to bring up before we close the meeting?
The BB either left or got disconnected.
I know. I heard her. I heard it when she
Yeah.
escaped.
I don't know about that.
Left.
Yukta, is anything from the district?
The first TLI is expected to be scheduled on 29th of June. So those of you who have very busy schedules, please make sure that you block your calendars for that day because this is going to be hybrid and we are hoping to make it as interesting as possible with some eminent speakers from Toastmasters International coming over. So this is going to be a big event. Please make sure you're there.
And Sarkis, you've raised your hand.
It's just a very simple question. I came here with just myself and my headphones. For future meetings, should I be prepared with anything else like a notepad, a pencil, a Word document on the side?
I wouldn't say, well, it depends on how fast you can type. If you want to have a Word document, you can type things in there. I know that some people use a pad and paper. Oh, sorry, that's the same thing. A paper pad and pen to jot notes down. Thank you for asking those very important questions. That shows good initiative. So,
No problem.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the answer.
I do
All right.
I keep notes and it's an accommodation because my memory isn't that great.
That's good. Anything else, Elton?
Not from me. Anything from anyone else? Going once, twice. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You as well.
Night,
Meeting
everybody.
adjourned.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Good
Thank
speech,
you.
Michelle.
Thank you.
Bye, Kaylin.
Bye.
Nice to see you again.
Bye, Caitlin.
Have a great
Bye,
week.
Sarkis.
Yes.